definition, interest groups only represent a narrow slice of the population, people who share the same interest. Now, interest groups, being groups, also have collective action problems, right? They have to organize to get things done, and the more people represented in an interest group, the harder it is to organize. But, of course, the more people, sort of the broader the interest, and the more likely it is that, the government might want to appease the group. So it's this sort of paradox here that a larger interest group that represents a lot of people might actually get more attention from the government, but it's harder to get those people organized into action. Now, the more an interest group has at stake, the easier it's going to be to organize action. So, for example, the AARP, the American Association of Retired Persons, is a very large interest group. And as we've already seen, the government has a lot of incentive to pay attention to older people because older people are much more likely to vote than younger people. So the government's already paying attention to this group. And the AARP, being very massive, has a lot of power to get the government to hear them. Now, if they have so many people, how do they get their members to actually organize? Well, sometimes they don't. But sometimes there's going to be a big issue, and they will be able to get their people to organize, their members to organize. Maybe the government saying, we're going to cut benefits for current retirees who are on Social Security. That is something that is major, at stake for virtually all AARP members. So suddenly, members are going to be really adamant that they need to do something about this, and it's going to be easier to organize them than if the government is not doing something that will directly affect these people. So if you are a member of, say, the World Wildlife Foundation, and that's a big group, and people do care a lot about species protection and environmental conservation, but if a species goes extinct, it may be upsetting. It may be like, a species that you really like. And you may know that this means bad things for the ecosystem and the environment and what have you, but it's not going to rile you up the same way as, oh my gosh, I'm going to maybe not have enough money to live on when I'm retired, right? So when we say a lot at stake, we mean a lot personally at stake, not just sort of a vague, nebulous a lot at stake. And that's why interest groups will have sort of varying ability to mobilize. The smaller they are, the easier it is to organize collective action. And the more they have at stake, the easier it is to organize their members, no matter how many there are. But of course, a small group with a lot at stake is going to be the easiest to mobilize, right? So keep that in mind as you think about interest groups and how they function and how they are able to get their members together to act collectively or not.